Dear Director General, Excellency, representative of the United Nations in the Geneva and the military force and defense, dear Rector and colleagues, dear student, we are opening this conference with a great hope in the world of peace, also in the light of the recent visit of Pope Francis in Iraq. Blessed the peace workers, because they will be called children of God. It's about being artisan of peace, because building peace is an art and requires serenity, creativity, sensibility, and dexterity. In preparing this event, the Italian mission to the United Nations, greeting to Ambassador Tornado, we wanted to highlight the importance and the urgency of let the United Nations know the new role of the university in the stabilization action peace in crisis area, such as the Middle East and the Balkans. For around 20 years, we have been working, thanks, Aesi, with the Italian diplomacy and military forces of peace with the mandate of the youth strategy that already has significant fruits in Sarajevo, Belgrade, after Dayton Agreement, and in Lebanon, Syria, Israel, and Palestine, and Jordan. All countries mostly today representative in the panel of the intervention of rectors and student part of the University Cooperation Program for Peace. Dear General, Director, peace is possible only if a new generation and current generation work together in preparing a future of trust, dialogue, and understanding. In one word, promote a true culture of solidarity, to make this a reality and not political slogan or appartenance only. University must participate in this process. What Aesi promote for many years is a strong strategy of university cooperation for peace, not a simple academic collaboration with exchange of professors and students for research and teaching activity. The University Cooperation for Peace, promoted by Aesi, is a new strategy we see the United Nations, the European Union, diplomacy, and the peace forces working together in the area of crisis promoting at the same time analysis and action. It's not easy. You need human and professional experience and skill. But all this university present with us today have a great positive experience in this sector that we hope may soon be more adopted by the diplomacy of the United Nations in crisis area. I'm concluding. I wish to present the speakers briefly because each of them has personal history of commitment and support to our action for peace. We have rector and professors from the Balkans, Sarajevo, Belgrade. We have rectors and professors from the Middle East, and we have also from Russia, St. Petersburg, and other ambassadors and peace forces, military peace forces. The same is valid for the students of the various universities who have been able to overcome the division in the past and now work together in the through a personal life, stories, and as a diplomats, politicians, professors, functionaries. Dear Director General, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, dear Professor Caneva, dear Ambassador Cartada, distinguished professors and rectors, dear students, dear friends. For me, it's a great honor and the great pleasure to participate in the opening of this very important joint event organized by Aesi and Unog. Last year, we couldn't welcome you here in the Palais des Nations. Unfortunately, this year, we couldn't welcome you either in the Palais des Nations. I hope that the next year, the situation is going to change. It will be more stable and we'll be able to meet in person. Nevertheless, that confirms the fact that we have to meet over internet, and we haven't been able to meet otherwise over the last year. It just confirms how challenging are the times, how challenging is the period of human development, the development of human civilization, which we are now witnessing. And it's not only about COVID. COVID is really, as we are periodically saying, just shed additional light, X-rayed certain tendencies which existed before COVID. And even before COVID, it was already clear that the world, humanity is in the process of transition, to a new social and economic paradigm. The dimension of new social and economic paradigm is still very, very unclear. And of course, mostly it depends on us. But at the same time, it was clear what kind of challenges and global challenges we are witnessing. Challenges in a connection with climate crisis, challenges in connection with certain nationalistic and populist movement and protest all around the world in the streets in many parts of the world. Challenges about globalization and unfair globalization. Challenges about moving to digital society. Challenges about inequality and many, many other. It was clear we are really having all these global challenges. And speaking at the beginning of 2020, before the COVID, Secretary General of the United Nations, Antonio Guterres, spoke about 4 horsemen, which are really menacing the future. And these are 4 horsemen he named rising geopolitical tensions, global mistrust, climate crisis, and the downside, dark side of modern digital technologies. Speaking later that year, in September, he added the 5th horseman, the COVID itself. But exactly these are challenges we have to address. And addressing all these challenges, we have really to think how we are going to address them. Because during the COVID pandemic, we saw different reactions towards crisis situation. Somewhere it was close of frontiers and isolationism. In some cases, we really witnessed lots of solidarity. And the question is, what kind of a scenario the world is going to have after the COVID, and what is going to be the role of multilateral diplomacy, of United Nations, and the future for all of us. Of course, there are different scenarios. One scenario, and nobody believes that's possible, that's we will just go back to the life as usual, back to business as usual. The longer this pandemic lasts, the clearer it is that it's not the realistic scenario. The world will be different. But how different it will be? Another second scenario, we might have more isolationism, less global solutions, more national solutions. For me, it's a very bad scenario. It's a scenario which will lead us back to the past, to some previous pages in our history. So I personally, like my colleagues, we believe that the world will follow the third scenario of more multilateralism. And why we believe in this scenario? On the one hand, well, I'm a former academic myself. I did lots of research on history, economic, social history, and history teaches us that after each global conflict or regional conflict, which at that time was a global conflict, like many European conflicts, people and the states, they try to look for some multilateral agreements. It was in past European history, there were quite a number of peace agreements signed between several European countries. In fact, these were multilateral agreements. It was the case of the First World War when the first multilateral organization was created, League of Nations, and now I am exactly sitting in the office of former director, secretaries generals of the League of Nations. It was the reaction towards the First World War and pandemic. And after the Second World War, as we are well aware, United Nations were created exactly in order not to repeat the tragedies and the global conflicts of the past. But not only history tells us that we can really expect and hope for this scenario of more multilateralism. Last year, when we celebrated the 75th anniversary of the United Nations, we decided not just to celebrate and not mostly celebrate, but to have a global conversation, about the future we want and about the United Nations we need. And it was a really global conversation. We had a survey on our webpage, and more than 1 million people answered the survey. We had quite a number of meetings all around the world, talking mostly to young audience, to students, to young professionals, exactly. And we are very encouraged by the results of this survey. They were reported to the General Assembly, and now on the basis of the resolution of General Assembly, we are working on the implementation, on the suggestions how to implement the results of this conversation. And the results of this conversation is that people want more multilateralism, and they want more active role for United Nations. Practically, well, total majority, 90% of participating in these discussions and surveys said that they want more multilateralism. But that doesn't mean that we all want old multilateralism. Multilateralism, which was born here in Geneva 100 years ago, with the League of Nations, or even multilateralism fit for 20th century. When we are speaking about multilateralism, we are speaking about modern multilateralism, which is first and foremost is inclusive multilateralism. And being inclusive, that means that, of course, first, all the member states or the United Nations, they have a crucial role to play. And what's important for modern multilateralism, we have to listen to the voices of all other member states. It doesn't matter whether the country is small and economically really impressive, or is a big and economically expressive, or small and with a small economy. All of the member states, they do have their equal voices, and we have to listen to all of them. But that's not enough. We live in a period, and that's why I return to the beginning, where we really are going to a new social and economic paradigm, to a new social and economic order. Member states are not the only international actors. We have international organizations established by the member states, including supranational organizations like European Union or Eurasian Economic Union, many other international organizations with their capacity and their own portfolio of mandated activities. We have non-governmental organizations, lots of them, and many of our dossiers, and in terms of peace and security and humanitarian support, we can deliver with the support of non-governmental organizations. We have academia, we have private sector, and of course we have organizations of young people. And only working together, uniting us all and discussing, we can build this modern multilateralism. So I really would like to address my speech to the young people who are participating in our discussions. Really, we attach a great importance to our dialogue with the young people, because you, the young people, you are the leaders of the future. So you shouldn't have fear. You should really fight against all the negative things we have now, against climate crisis, against inequality, against global mistrust, vice versa. You should help and build this and build the new global trust between the governments themselves, between civil society and the governments, etc. So I really think it's important. And of course, we also understand that multilateralism is an instrument. But do we have an agenda? And of course, we do have agenda. And we have agenda of Sustainable Development Goals, Agenda 2030. And COVID showed us that this agenda is more important than ever. And this agenda covers all the challenges I mentioned or any of us can mention, because it covers economic development, fight with poverty, gender equality, peace and security, human rights, climate crisis. Whatever you name, it's already within this SDGs agenda. And the goal number 17 is building partnerships. So I really would like to finish my introduction here to just saying how important for all of us these days to work together, to listen to each other, to listen to the young people, and to put this listening mode into active mode, to start acting on the results of our discussions. Thank you very much. I am looking forward to participating in these events. And once again, hopefully next year we'll be able to meet here in the Palais des Nations. Thank you.
Thank you very much, dear General Director, for your intervention. And I'm speaking in name of the diplomats, generals, professors, but especially in names of the students, the young generation of the Balkans, of Europe and the Middle East. Thanks very much for your words, for your encouragement, and for all your disponibility to stay with us. I would like to ask you one thing and one hope. This panel is a miracle, thanks to also to the United Nations. We worked in Sarajevo at the beginning after Dayton jointly with Jean-Paul Klein. Do you remember him? Especially representative of Secretary General. He supported very much me and all the peace forces and ambassadors. Thank you, United Nations, for giving us this possibility. We create a master program in state management and public administration. We have now from Sarajevo, from Belgrade, from the old Middle East. This is a great miracle. This network, dear Director General, is to your disposal, ambassador generals and professors, for a possible synergy with your department in crisis area to propose to join in conference on program in the future. This is my hope, and I would like to ask you, do you have an encouragement for us to continue this strong effort to promote diplomacy, university, and peace forces, United Nations programs in the crisis era?
Of course, it's crucial, it's important. As I said, it's exactly what we want to do, because whatever decisions or actions the international community is making, they should be really the result of a dialogue, of a joint efforts, including academia, private sector, non-governmental organizations, young people. So, of course, the work you are doing is precious to us, and we are looking forward to work very, very closely to you.
Thank you very much. And I would like to thank also Ambassador Cornado for great support, and your chief of cabinet that met our students in Rome in the Foreign Office. You are a great group. Sorry if I am so confident with you, but I am really emotional because you can see, I can see something, a dream, 20 years of job to present to you, the responsible of United Nations in Geneva, this our program together to directors of countries in fighting, in conflict, with ambassador and general. Thank you, Director General, really with all my heart. Okay, now we have I don't know if when you like to remain, you stay, Director General. Now the ambassador, please, Ambassador Cornado, please.
Thank you very much, Madam Director General, Mr. President of Aesi, distinguished panelists, dear students, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great honor for me to welcome you virtually in Geneva, which is since 150 years a city of peace, cooperation, dialogue, and hope. Of course, we would have preferred to hold this meeting in person, but unfortunately, the situation does not allow us yet to resume in-person events in Switzerland. Fortunately, we have the technology, which allows us to stay together and to meet and to see each other despite the distance. And in this regard, I would like to thank Aesi for taking care of the Zoom platform connections, or the Microsoft Teams platform connections, and Director General of Unog, Mrs. Tatiana Valovaya, for honoring us with her presence today and for addressing this, let's call it, academic General Assembly.
Thank you very much. This academic General Assembly is quite new.
Through these difficult times, students have shown their resilience, their capability to adapt to the new circumstances, and despite the unprecedented challenges, they have kept the enthusiasm, the motivation, the determination to build up partnership, cooperation, friendship, bridges among the peoples in order to prepare a future of peace. Congratulations, my friends. I have a great admiration for all of you. Your spirit is the spirit of the United Nations, which means helping people to live together, to talk together, to work together, to understand each other, and I quote Director General Unog, to find the universality in the diversity. Nobody better than students can do so. This is why the universities can indeed make the difference and inspire us in our common effort to build peace and cooperation. There is in fact something in common between the UN world and the academic world. We all believe in dialogue, mutual understanding and cooperation. We have the capability to remove the obstacles or to go beyond the obstacles and to bring people together. This is multilateralism because we are the peoples of the United Nations. Students represent the future, and future can always be better as it is full of hope. Students from all over the world stay together, talk together, share their experiences, and by doing so, they transform their differences in universality. They strengthen each other, they respect each other, and they are united in their effort to be successful and to become the future leaders of their countries. We need them, and we wish them all the best. Madam Director General, Mr. President, dear students, today we have among our distinguished panelists representatives from the universities in Bosnia and Herzegovina, Serbia, the Russian Federation, Israel, Palestine, Jordan, and Syria. Each one of them have been witnesses critical moments in these challenging times. This is why each one of them will have a vibrant message of peace and hope to deliver. I would like to thank each and every one of them, starting from Professor Massimo Caneva, the founding father of Aesi, who made it one of the most prestigious training schools in Europe. My colleagues and friends, Ambassador Adriano Benedetti and Ambassador Franco Mistretta, as well as former Chief of Defense Staff, General Vincenzo Camporini, K4 Commander General Franco Federici, and of course, my good friend from New York and Geneva, the Chief of Staff of the Director General of Unog, Mr. David Schivajce. And allow me also to add a personal note. For many, many years, my father, Salvatore Cornado, had been very proud to be a supporter of Aesi and to share his EU experience and vision with the students in his capacity of former European Commission representative in Rome. Dear friends, I look forward to hearing from you, to hear your success stories, and to realize once again the extraordinary potential that universities and students have in international relations. You can reach goals we cannot reach. You can indeed bring peace and cooperation, promote peace and promote progress, human rights and development in the world through dialogue and mutual comprehension. I hope that many of you will join your respective administrations, the diplomatic service, the international organizations, the NGO in the future, and that you'll give with the enthusiasm your contribution and added value to our societies and to the cause of dialogue, peace, and cooperation in the world. Congratulations, Aesi, congratulations, United Nations, and thank you, Madam Director General, Mrs. Tatiana Valovaya, for honoring us with your presence today. Thank you. Grazie.
Grazie. Thank you very much, Ambassador. This first part of the section has been wonderful, fantastic. And I hope that the big number, you see how many students are connected with us from all the countries, is a great message for the others. Peace is possible. Peace is possible. And solidarity is one of the goals of university. University can promote, with the support of United Nations, the culture of solidarity. And this is the way for a good foreign policy for the future. Dear Director General, dear Ambassador, Aesi is with you in this future to face the crisis and put the new generation to support you, your program, and everywhere you need, we are together with ambassadors, generals, and professors and students, together in the very nice and enthusiastic laboratory of peace. Thank you very much for this part. And now I would like to open the section of discussions for the first part of the diplomacy with Ambassador Mistretta. First, his intervention, please.
Good afternoon. I'm glad to have this opportunity to stress the importance of cooperation among university, military, and diplomacy that is instrumental to the success of humanitarian missions in the immediate post-belligerency process to heal populations and redevelop environments. This assistance has become closely interlinked and complex, requesting specific capabilities and adaptability to field requirements. It is then necessary to give common training to military and civilian personnel assigned to the field, with targeted courses such as laws fundamentals, preventive and emergency medicine, tender for contracts, maintenance services. Thanks to the suggestions and impulse of the European Association of International Studies, Aesi, and its president, Massimo Caneva, I organized in the year 2000 these courses as director of the Diplomatic Institute, and I promoted them through other similar high schools of the Ministries of Defense and Interior and universities to provide personnel of the humanitarian missions with appropriate same skills to cope with their duties. It is also important to put together students from different areas, Middle East, Mediterranean, the Balkans, to follow and jointly discuss shared items, thus creating the habit to sit side by side to implement reciprocal understanding. Aesi has been organizing such courses for the last 20 years in Rome, Sarajevo, Damascus, Beirut, Amman, Jerusalem, with students and universities presidents and rectors to exchange views and compare notes. In the years 2003-2006, assigned to Beirut, I had the opportunity to continue and to appreciate this cooperation among UNIFIL, universities, and NGOs to relieve the conditions of the population in southern Lebanon and other parts of its territory. I conclude stressing the importance of a fruitful synergy among military, diplomacy, and universities to give civilian and military personnel of humanitarian missions a common skill on subjects useful to better perform in the field. And secondly, to promote among young students from sensitive areas the habit of studying together and exchange views on items of shared interest. That's why I think Aesi model is appropriate to meet with the missions field requirements. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador Mistretta. Thank you because we are here today. Thanks also to you. Now the floor is of Ambassador Benedetti. Ambassador Benedetti, please. Okay.
Yes.
Well, you can speak. The floor is yours.
I feel particularly privileged to be allowed to say a few words today in the presence, among others, of the UN Director General in Geneva, of other high-ranking UN officials, and of the Italian permanent representative in Geneva, where some 35 years ago, I was lucky enough to serve as responsible for human rights and humanitarian affairs in the Italian permanent mission. I cannot start my very brief remarks without mentioning the recent brutal killing in Congo of our Italian ambassador in Kinshasa, Luca Attanasio, of a carabiniere, Vittorio Iacovacci, and of their driver, Mustafa Milambo. Their murder produced a wave of anguish, emotion, and bewilderment in the Italian public opinion, reminding us of the difficulties and dangers facing diplomats and international officials in many parts of the world. Ambassador Attanasio was killed not far away from the territory of another African country, Rwanda, where almost 30 years ago a genocide was perpetrated without the international community being able to prevent it. Enormous efforts will be required in the path towards more justice and more respect for the dignity of the human being and for her fundamental rights in the world. The UN and other international organizations will have to perform a crucial role over the next decades in order to approach, if not attain, that result. Many contributions will be needed, also from non-governmental entities such as Aesi, for example, in the pursuit of a more stable world order. All contributions, if brought about with honesty and good intentions, are of a precious value, motivating university youth in particular to take part in the promotion of peace in a country afflicted by internal and fratricidal strife is the best investment we can make for the future and the well-being of that country. But in whatever endeavor, multilateral, international, state or individual institutions may find themselves operating for the common good, what is essential are the moral qualities of the officials, of the persons involved. Above all, courage, dedication, and some sort of humility, considering the huge tasks ahead. Exactly those very qualities which characterized the unfortunately short professional life of Ambassador Attanasio. Aesi, in his subdued way, unlimited means, is committed to transmitting the need for such ethical approach to all students who attend its meetings and courses and is looking forward to having closer cooperation with the UN bodies. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Benedetti, that you visited Palais des Nations with us in 2015, 2016, yes, a meeting in the United Nations.
That's right.
Now the floor, close the microphone and the video. Now the floor is the General Camporini.
Good afternoon, everybody, excellencies, diplomats, friends, students. You should not be surprised to see that there is a soldier here speaking in such a meeting. We'll have another one following me. And you should not be surprised because the role of the militaries has always been very critical in support of the effort done by the international community to reach stability where stability is not existing. Without presence of the military forces, the disasters which we have been witnessing for so many years would destroy every hope of a peaceful coexistence of different populations, different ethnic groups, different religions. This is my strong belief. And when in 1999, Professor Canova, he was a little bit younger than he is now, and I also was younger, came to me. I was then responsible for the politico-military matters in the Italian General Defense Staff, and made the proposal to be helped in his effort in the areas of turmoil where we had troops deployed in order to provide the security environment needed to help the peace process. I was, from the very first moment, very enthusiastic about this idea. And we started a cooperation which became structural and extended not only to the Balkan areas, but also to the Middle East, where Italy has deployed its troops in order to create stability situations. I believe that so far we have had so many common endeavors, and everything is gone so smoothly that we can really become an example on how the cooperation between military forces and academic institutions supported by the diplomatic network can be very effective in creating the conditions for a future peaceful environment. We are fully aware that the young generations need to talk together, because if they talk together, they understand that what is in front of them is not an adversary, is not an enemy, it's just another young guy who has the same hopes, the same future to confront, and that it is much better to stand together than to fight each other. In this effort, the academic institution is, of course, crucial. And I do believe that their endeavor must be supported in order to obtain a more peaceful world. That's why the armed forces are fully engaged in this endeavor. And that's why I pass the message to my successors in order to continue in this cooperation, which I believe is one of the more effective elements to foster the scopes of the international community. Thank you.
Thank you, General, and really thanks, because we started the cooperation with the defense and peace forces with your support. Now, the floor is of General Federici, K4 Commander, and part of the scientific committee, and has been also, I met him in Lebanon. Please.
Ambassadors, Madam Director General, professors and dear students, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon from Pristina. And thank you, Professor Caneva, for affording me this opportunity attending this very, very important conference. I do not say anything new when I state that resolution of conflicts is an objective that requires a unified effort, which includes all the elements of national power, where indeed the military intervention plays a significant role in providing security and stability. However, military activities alone cannot guarantee a lasting result, and therefore it is necessary, I would say paramount, to plan an integrated endeavor including diplomacy, academic institutions, and economic initiatives. In this context, the academic world, namely the universities, has enormous potential concerning the education of young leaders of the future and the fostering of intercultural and interfaith dialogue. I really believe diplomacy and military have an obligation to set the condition for the dialogue to occur in a safe and secure environment. Again, thanks a lot to Professor Caneva. I have witnessed firsthand universities' ability to bring people together to discuss and reflect on post-conflict issues. I have seen it in Beirut and also at the Rome seminar. Young students from areas like the Balkans or the Middle East need to be exposed to different cultures and ideas, because the broader their vision, the better will be the future of the countries. Universities are continually researching how to support and implement peace, and this is an interdisciplinary effort where the vision of the youth on the roots of the crisis, as mentioned in the program, by the way, must definitely be taken into account. Let me stretch it even further. It is them, the young people of these countries, who should point the right direction to achieve a long-lasting peace. Similarly to their peers worldwide, they have the brightest ideas, live the actual realities of their homelands, and most importantly, they may not have developed those deeply rooted cognitive biases that are typically the reasons why the road to peace is so difficult to walk. Interfaith dialogue and tolerance is another pillar I would like to stress. I believe that the narrative needs to be changed. Despite being depicted by specific media as inconceivable, the dialogue between people with different beliefs and religion is indeed very much possible. Professor Caneva has a much more extensive knowledge of all the good things that the cooperation between military peacekeepers, university and diplomacy was able to obtain. When I was in Lebanon, I had the pleasure of taking part in some of such kind of initiatives whose importance cannot be overstated. And I want to make myself clear. If we want to bring to a fruition a permanent normalization of post-conflict areas, the younger generation must be at the core of any effort. Cultural and faith differences can be smoothed by merely making these young people get together and know each other. They are surprisingly open-minded. They are tolerant, and we have an obligation to give them the right tools and space where to build peace for the future. An old saying recites that culture is freedom. We all know, by the way, the motto I've chosen for my period of command here in Kosovo is "As one we progress." And let me say, within this conference, I would like to include all of you in this as one for a progress, a common progress to peace and stability. I strongly believe that we can defeat all the hatred and the hostility between ethnic and religious groups passed down from generation to generation. Despite the cultural differences, the desire to live a peaceful life is mutual. Unfortunately, many people who grew up in conflict areas do not know normality. This is why I think that the academic world's role is critical to achieving the so-called reconciliation. The military and the diplomacy must support this process. You know, I am a soldier and I have spent a significant amount of my existence operating in places battered by war. And what I have realized is that the scars of a conflict will never go away. At the same time, however, I have seen countless acts of kindness and generosity, even between individuals who are supposedly enemies. I have seen hope blossoming despite the brutality of war. My hope for post-conflict areas is to eventually reach enduring stability, where the new generation will reject fear and mistrust. As a soldier, I will continue to stay ready and willing to put my life at risk, not only for my fellow brothers and sisters in arms, but also for the people who are desperately looking for peace and prosperity all over the world. I conclude my intervention by thanking all of you, and it was really a pleasure for me to talk at this conference.
Thank you, General Commander, and it's an honor for us to have you in this conference. Now, I would like to introduce the panel of the professors. I would like to start with Sarajevo because all the history starts in Sarajevo. I would like to move after that in Belgrade, and please, professor from Hebrew asked me because for an emergency to ask to speak before. So I will ask a favor to Igor from in St. Petersburg to change the place. In any case, the order I will show you. First of all, from Vice Rector of University of Sarajevo, please.
Hello. It is my great pleasure to be a part of this very big assembly. I am very honored and grateful to have the opportunity to speak about importance of promoting peace and education. And I'm also very thankful that I'm in a position to share that with the student as I'm the professor. I also would like to take this opportunity to thank the Professor Massimo for his role in promoting the peace, not just at University of Sarajevo, but all around the world, as his great effort and energy is something that is very great to have. It's an energy that all world needs right now. The cooperation between Aesi and University of Sarajevo started 20 years ago. So we are very proud that we are the part of Aesi for so long. We had the opportunity to hear the words from the UN General Assembly, the generals, and other leaders. I would also like just to point out that most important army that we have is the army of students. And we need to make them powerful, and they need to be very powerful force in creating the love and the peace, as peace is the only way that can lead us to better and brighter future. But we really need to have this great support, not just from Sarajevo University, but also from all around the world. So we are very, very thankful to Professor Massimo for his energy that he's willing to share with us and helping us to promote the peace.
Thank you, Sarajevo. Sarajevo is part of my heart because it all started there. And all of you, as in Belgrade, as in Sarajevo, in Beirut, in Jerusalem, in Damascus, everywhere, your students and the students are part of my life. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Massimo.
And now the floor is from Rector of Belgrade, please. Close. Thank you. Thank you to be here, Ivanka. Thank you.
So, Professor Caneva, it's a pleasure to be here. Madam Director General, esteemed ambassadors, high officials of international and national institutions, and dear colleagues from the academic community, and most importantly, dear students. It's a great privilege for me to take part in this meeting today, and thanks again to Professor Caneva for his energy and his long-term efforts to bring us all closer together. I think Madame Director General pointed out some really important challenges that we are faced with today. So I must say our young colleagues are facing a much more complex situation than we did as young people. And I agree that the Sustainable Development Goals are the ones that can be the right guideline on how to perform. I would perhaps like to talk about one aspect that is, I find, very disruptive also in these COVID times, because COVID has shown the worst and the best in people as things have moved along. Madam Director General mentioned some of the dangers or challenges of society as proclaimed by Mr. Gutierrez. And I think the dark side of our digital communication, which is now so important in COVID times, is one of the places where maybe our young generations are losing the possibility of tolerant discussion. Being closed into social media bubbles of like-minded thinkers, we are losing this capacity for an exchange of different ideas. And therefore, I see this as a challenge for what we are trying to promote here as trying to come together and to have the solidarity that is necessary, besides providing the proper education for our students for their future professions. So I would really like to emphasize the role of universities as places where open discussion and open exchange of different opinions can bring about the trust and the tolerance needed in any type of society, regardless of the structure of this society. And even though the conflicts have now, in many places that we are coming from, we don't have direct conflict, but we have the transition after conflict, which is just as challenging as the conflict themselves. And in this respect, I think this open communication through various panels of discussion, where Aesi can be one of the ways where we can really communicate, we can achieve these goals of trying to make the world a better place for younger people and having them trained and prepared for the challenges of the world to come. I also think we're leaving the world in the worst place regarding climate, various types of recycling issues that have not been resolved. I am a chemical engineer, so I'm quite interested in these topics. So I'm hoping that this type of meeting is not just a question of opening up tolerant discussion, but where we could bring up various aspects of sustainable development and how they can be used as tools to bring about a better understanding among our communities. So I would like to conclude in saying that conversation is key and that meetings like this can really help us move along. And the University of Belgrade is to be a proud member of Aesi, and we hope that we can contribute to further joint actions. So thank you very much, and special good luck to the students participating in the discussion. Thank you.
Great Ivanka, great rector, a great Belgrade, because Belgrade is quite important as Sarajevo, as all the other cities, part of Europe. We believe that you will contribute to have one Europe in the future through your university. Now, sorry, Igor, you will speak later. I ask Israel and Palestine, and for please, Manuela, You have an emergency, I understand that you can speak, and after Ibrahim Matar and after Igor, please.
Thank you very much. Ambassador Cornado, Madam Director General, Aesi President, Professor Caneva, honorable guests, colleagues and students, on behalf of Director of the Hebrew University, on my behalf, we want to embrace all what has been said until now and to reconfirm our commitment to reinforce, to strengthen the program, to bridge difference in respecting our difference, to support dialogue, peace as actors, not as bystander. We should expand, as has been said, our personal and academic ties, and we should help our students, who are indeed our future, to become the new ambassador of peace. Thank you, Massimo, for the devotion and the stubbornness to keep this program going. The Hebrew University will stand by you and by all my other colleagues from the Balkans, from Palestine, from Jordan, and from Syria, and from the Russian Federation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Manuela. I know that the rector is informed and he likes to support our program. You are part also of my life in terms of Roman. You are also Roman, and this is part of Rome and Jerusalem. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I leave two of my students, Erez Khalif and Narmin Idris. So thank you very much, and thank you again. Bye-bye.
Now I would like to ask to Ibrahim Matar from Palestine to speak about, please, Ibrahim Matar is in line. Or I can give the floor to, because I know he's present, but maybe.
Yes, I'm in line.
Okay, voice.
Okay, dear friends, thank you for this invitation, Massimo. I bring you the greetings of the Palestinian universities from Jerusalem. I wish to say university cooperation started in 2005 through the good auspices of the Italian consulate in Jerusalem. The program started bilateral between Palestinian and Israeli universities. The first encounter was held at the Italian Cooperation Office in Jerusalem between 4 Palestinian universities and 5 Israeli universities. As a follow-up to this meeting, an agreement for bilateral cooperation between Israeli and Palestinian universities was signed in Rome to this effect at the rector's office of Rome La Sapienza universities. This bilateral cooperation continued until 2014, when the Palestinian-Israeli negotiations ended. But Professor Massimo decided to expand the program and benefit from the momentum by turning this program into a multilateral program involving other universities. The new program involved universities from Syria, Jordan, Lebanon, and European universities. Altogether, some 75 graduate students from these countries participated in this multilateral program, which went on until 2019. Unfortunately, in 2020, because of the pandemic, the program was postponed for maybe another 2 years, this multilateral program. We can say the students have benefited from the program as it has promoted exchanges, relations, and developed efforts for a culture of peace as a key factor for reaching not only a greater and better understanding between peoples, but also more realistic prospects in terms of educational goals for the formation of new generation of leaders. So I thank you, Massimo, for this invitation, and greetings to all the participants, and thank you again, UN Geneva.
Greetings, Ibrahim, you have been the first person that I met in Jerusalem when I arrived many years ago, and you still continue to be with us in this miracle of a program. Ambassador Cornado is a real miracle. It's a real miracle. Thank you very much. And thinking to your father is been with us, he stay with us. And,
Thank you.
Now I would like to ask to Igor, the rector of St. Petersburg University. Thanks for the possibility to move this. Thank you very much, Igor.
Dear Tatiana Valavaya, dear Professor Massimo Caneva, dear Ambassador Cornado, dear David Chikwadze, dear my friends rectors from universities, it is a great pleasure to be here again to participate in this conference on the university cooperation organized online by the Italian representation to the United Nations in Geneva and collaboration with Aesi. I would like to talk about academic and scientific cooperation, the role of universities in the establishment of the peace process between our countries, as well as the social responsibility we uphold towards the youth of our countries and our international students. I want to thank our friend Professor Massimo Caneva for inviting me to this important conference to share my vision on the role of the university's cooperation in promoting peace and solidarity between countries. Nowadays, when the global balance is very fragile, it seems to me that universities can and have to do a peacekeeping functions, uniting the efforts of many structures of the state and societies. The universities should play the role of international integrators. I completely agree with Professor Caneva that university cooperation is more fruitful and relevant than university competitions. I believe that internalization of education is one of the most important mechanisms to develop world solidarity. In St. Petersburg State University of Economics that I have the honor to head, we realize the strategy of full internalization. Our university have about 3,000 foreign students. Our Russian students have level of academical mobility. About 1,000 Russian students go abroad annually. We create new forms of international educational program. In Russia, we were first university who launched a double degree program. And our double degree program with Sapienza University works about more than 15 years. Today, university offers a wide range of international bachelor and master degree program. Our partners all Europe, Asia, United States, and America Latina. Also, we regularly organize international seminars, forums, and summits. Dear friends, at the end of my short speech, I would like to note once again that I hope that we can join our collective efforts to make our cooperation to the next level of development. A core aspect to sustainable development lies in the acknowledgement and deep understanding that we should create the new leaders tomorrow. These will be individuals who will later assume key responsibilities in existing system and set an example for our societies. If we try to form leaders in the science of cooperation and international solidarity, it will be the most great investment in peaceful and sustainable future. Thank you very much. dear friends.
Thank you, Igor. We have visited your university in St. Petersburg with our students, with the rector of Vienna, with the rector, vice rector of University of Madrid, with many friends. We believe in the future of the peace and dialogue through the university in our great Europe and the Balkans and the Middle East. And university, your university especially, is very important. Thank you very much, really, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, I would like to have the floor to Hanan Madanat from Jordan University. Please.
Good evening. Good evening, Massimo and everyone.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. Thank you for the invitation and for this great opportunity.
You are speaking from a very historical place, Madaba.
Yeah, from the Holy Land, yeah, from Madaba, yeah.
On the neighbor, just in the border with the Holy Land. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, good evening. It's my pleasure to be with you all this evening after a year full of challenges, 2020. Here we are in another year, 2021, in which we feel another challenge on many fronts, especially with COVID-19 pandemic and its consequences on economy, education, human communication, and people's inner peace all over the world. With this backdrop, allow me to talk about my experience as a faculty member at the American University of Madaba in dealing with such challenges that result in different sorts of conflicts and the role AUM plays in promoting peace and dialogue. AUM cares for people's needs, aspirations, and daily problems and challenges. It plays significant roles in providing a quality education that enables its graduates to deal with life challenges in a very practical way, connected to knowledge, skills, and dispositions that enhance the concept of peace as an inseparable part of their beliefs and behavior. Besides aiming for academic excellence, the American University of Madaba believes that diversity and differences is a strength, not a weakness. It is a virtue, for that when we are on the campus, at the American University campus, we can and everyone can feel the harmony among its students from different and various backgrounds, coming from different parts of the world, and not only from Jordan or even from the Middle East. Moreover, AUM encourages the training of its students via diverse activities, and we have an annual Model United Nations conference, but unfortunately we didn't have it last year due to the pandemic, but we're trying to have it, inshallah, this year online. And some other purposive activities to provide our students with a value system that enables them to support and stand by all those who have been hurt or sidelined as a result of conflict and wars, and help them to regain hope for a future. And of course, this stems from AUM's vision that education should be an opportunity and a right to everyone, whether they are citizens or immigrants. Another core pillar of AUM initiating innovation and creativity. Why? Because we believe that its graduate in their future, they need to lead change and be change agents who make a positive difference in the world. Moreover, another focal point that has an immense effort and collaboration is that our students are the most precious asset. And when they graduate, they should have mastered all the skills and values to be peace ambassadors. In its curricular and co-curricular activities, AUM aims at opening windows of hope, tolerance, and acceptance in each of our students. At AUM, we see compromise and sharing as major principles in assuring cooperation skills in promoting nonviolence and nonviolent education to have nonviolent generation who believes in the importance of dialogue as a path for democracy and peace and solidarity. And as I mentioned before, investing in our student is investing in our future. For that, we at the American University of Madaba are always restructuring our programs and activities to become more lively, flexible, efficient, and effective. We're looking at results we obtained over the last year and the achievements AUM has accomplished in the 2020. And despite the pandemic and its consequences, I believe we can say that we are doing exactly what we have promised to do to our students and to community as well. All the efforts devoted at AUM to strengthen its presence at as not only a beacon of science, but also as a beacon of hope for others that with all its potential will work and continue to work as a platform for action to repair a broken trust in a broken world and to deliver the best education to young people. While building peace in the world seems one of the impossible missions, but nevertheless, it is necessary, and we have to work towards this. Now, at AUM, we subscribe to the belief that with God, all things are possible. Finally, let me express my deep happiness and pride seeing Pope Francis visiting Iraq and other parts of the world with suffering word, spreading those words of peace, carrying the message of peace to those who are suffering and thirst for it. I'm so happy because this is a great and model example for our students and for the youth who will lead the future. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for all the efforts we invest in to make peace the major concept people seek in the future to live peacefully and to have peaceful world. Thank you, Massimo. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Hanan. We visited one time a few years ago your university in this historical and marvelous place of Montenegro, near Montenegro.
Yeah.
Our history passed through your mountains, your cities, your villages. The history is impossible to cancel the history. Our history in Europe passed also from there through. And we thanks very much because I know the Pope visited and founded these universities, and also I visited, and this part of our program.
Sorry.
Please, tell.
We hope the pandemic will over soon, and everyone will get a chance from the participants to visit Madaba and to visit Jordan, and to enjoy the beauty of this place.
Okay, thank you very much. And now I would like to have following to this conversation, Pope Francis sent the greetings to the Roman International Seminars. This is a video registered tape, and I would like to Sylvia to show us this very short greetings from Pope Francis, please.
Yes, good afternoon to everybody. Just a second.
Al corso promosso da Rome International Seminar 2019.
Okay. Just very short message for us. And now we return in direct line, and is ready. We have not in contact with the last, but we continue. We have time with the last speaker. We have time for the discussion with the student that we can start now. Maybe we try to connect with the student and professor later, but just to say that I would like to thank Ambassador Cornado, Mr. David Chikvaise, and Cinzia Vanzo, that will help us to coordinate, to promote all the students, starting from now from the Bosnian University of Sarajevo. Please, Cinzia Vanzo, tu ci sei? Okay, you are ready. Thank you to be here. Now we start the section with the students, and please start.
Okay, good afternoon. Thank you all, the panelists, for the interesting report and for this important moment of sharing. I give the floor to the students for their interventions. I ask Miroslav Zivanovic of the University of Sarajevo to make his speech. Please. Please, Miroslav, we don't...
Hello, I hope that you hear me and everything is okay.
Okay, we see you. You can speak.
Miroslav.
That's great. Okay, Your Excellencies, dear professors, students, colleagues, and of course, dear Professor Massimo Caneva, it is a great pleasure to join you today. And
Miki,
as always,
Miki, I would like to tell something about you before. You have been my student. You have been my student first after Dayton Agreement Master Program. You have been also Deputy Mayor of Sarajevo, and now you are the Chief of Cabinet of the Rector of University of Sarajevo, correct?
Yes.
Okay, just to
currently I'm working as a head of rector's office here at the University of Sarajevo.
Okay, go on.
Okay, so it is always a great pleasure for me to speak as advocate of this concept of university cooperation for peace, because I had this unique opportunity to be participant and of the master program that we jointly organized by University of Sarajevo, University of Belgrade, and University of La Sapienza, Rome at that time. So I was a witness of how useful this concept of university cooperation in promoting peace was for me. And also it was very useful both for all universities involved, but I have to say for all communities and for all states involved, because even today, among us who become professionals in different fields of expertise and in different fields of operations, we still have very good and strong contacts as students who share this unique experience. And it was a great pleasure for me to participate in all the following activities organized by Aesi in order to promote this, for me, very interesting concept of university cooperation for peace. Now, and I think that this is something that I had the opportunity to speak with Professor Kaneva. I think that we always have to use this opportunity when we meet with very important officials and leaders to ask for more understanding and for more support to increase the number of university cooperation for peace initiatives throughout the world. Unfortunately, we are witnessing the situation in which world is still overwhelmed with number of conflicts in different parts of this wonderful planet, and I think that our experience is very good. Our experience is very positive, and I think now that it is a time that United Nations and all other international agencies which have very important role in peace, in conflict resolution and peace building should embrace the concept of the university cooperation for peace and put it on the higher level. I would like to see this concept that we were witnessing institutionalized as part of the official UN agenda when it comes to address the conflict resolution issues in different areas throughout the world. And I hope that this is going to be the message that will be embraced by this forum today, and that you will be, like I am, an advocate of more institutionalized and more widespread university cooperation for peace method throughout the world. Thank you for the opportunity to see Professor Kaneva, all the other speakers, and I hope that our work will be fruitful in the future and that we will have more university cooperation in conflict areas, unfortunately, in many conflict areas throughout the world. Thank you.
Thank you to you for your intervention, for your interesting intervention. If you, Professor Kaneva, want to say something?
No. I would like only to say that you pass through all the careers, students, politicians, vice mayor of Sarajevo, and now a cabinet of directors. So continuing like this. Greetings.
Yes. Now I ask Dragana Georgievich of the University of Belgrade to make her speech. Please.
Thank you.
Dragana, if you want to turn on camera and microphone, please.
Block it.
Dragana, listen us. We don't see.
I don't.
Dragana, you can speak without a camera. Speak.
Can you speak me?
Yes, we hear you. Don't worry. Speak.
I'm student. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Do you understand? Can you hear me?
Yes,
okay?
perfectly.
Okay.
Perfect.
I'm student on the first generation on master studies of the State Management and Humanitarian Affairs, University of Belgrade. It was a program of cooperation among three university, Belgrade, Sarajevo, and La Sapienza. And I would like to thank my professor Massimo Kaneva. Directors of all three universities recognized the important roles of the university in making peace in the Western Balkans. Peace and intercultural understanding are key for the effective transformation in the post-conflict countries. Universities should to make contribution and in crisis acknowledge in the field of crisis management, development and cultural. The university cooperation is very important of education for peace and cooperation between higher education and non-government sector in local communities. Education is very important for the development of government. And I believe the cooperation on the three universities, Sarajevo, Belgrade, La Sapienza, inspired other universities to take on activity role in building peace and implementing human rights, education, peaceful conflict, and intercultural understanding. University can promote the solidarity dialogue. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dragana. Thank you for your support and greetings from Rome.
Thank you, Professor Massima.
Grazie, grazie.
For your energy.
Ecco, passiamo.
Okay, thank you, Dragana. I ask Ahmad Muna of the Palestinian University to make his speech, please.
Close the video, close the video.
Block it, Professor.
Good. I can speak now?
Yes, 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 yes.
Good, good evening, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you, Shenzia. Thank you, Professor Geneva, for this seminar today. Very interesting. I would like to also thank Dr. Ibrahim here before me, who spoke because of his trust in us. We last year, when we were in Rome, we were three good representation. We were from three universities here in Palestine, which is a very good representation. I believe the program has been wonderful. Last year, we have met various people from different countries that we would have not met if we were not on this program. I would like also to emphasize on the work of this seminar and the cooperation that has been done. Of course, it's very important to continue to do these seminars and this discussion amongst various places in the Middle East, in the Balkans. Of course, we come from places full of conflicts. Cooperation is much needed. Peace is much needed. We're in a generation that have not seen much peace, especially in the Middle East. For example, here in Palestine, things are full of frustration, absence of hope. Living under practices of military occupation does not help. So participating in such programs helps us build hope, see scope, look for peace and for hope amongst each other. And I thank you very much for these opportunities. And I want to emphasize also that peace cannot be achieved by certain people or certain segments. Our age, education is very important. Young people are very important, but also cooperation is very much needed, and the work of aid and development agencies, which are taking place everywhere in these countries, is also much appreciated. We thank you again on behalf of me, on behalf of everybody in the students here on Palestine for this. Please keep it up, and we look forward for more interesting things from your side. Thank you again. I want to keep it short.
Muna, you are representative of the community of students from Palestine.
Indeed.
And we are honored. Your university and all the Palestine is quite important part of this program. And thank you very much for your support, for your engagement, for your enthusiasm. we need to have your personal engagement for peace, to promote peace, Thank you very much from the Palestine.
Fingers crossed. Thank you, Mr. Geneva. Thank you.
Thank you to you, Muna. I ask Erez Khalif of the Hebrew University of Jerusalem to propose the intervention. Please, you can speak.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me well?
Yes, we see you. Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you very much. I'm very much excited. I missed a lot of the people that are present here. I have a lot to say about the program and my experience in it. I can say, first of all, that it changed my life and the way I look at the relations between people in the Middle East and within Israel itself. I'm very proud of my part in this program. I'm very happy I had the chance to communicate with people I would most certainly not have met or talked to otherwise. And I want to thank everybody involved in the execution of this program and in planning it, especially, of course, to Massimo and Manuela. Thank you very, very much. I will say that since the program, I have I've been keeping in touch with some of the people involved, and I think that for itself, it is something very, very important and special. And it is my hope that at least some of the participants who will one day reach other positions, maybe in the governmental organizations or such, will be able to promote the agenda that we shared in this seminar, and hopefully bring peace to the Middle East and for the welfare of all involved. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you very much for your engagement, your participation. Hebrew University is quite important for us. Greetings, please.
Thank you very, very much for your intervention. I ask Sadina Marwan Malas of the American University of Madaba to propose her intervention, please.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for yielding the floor. I hope everyone is doing well. I'm Sadina Malhas, majoring in marketing, and I will be representing the American University of Madaba. In this intervention, I chose to be personal, since this is my last semester as an undergraduate student, and I would like to talk about how AUM promotes peace from my personal experience throughout my 4-year journey. The word family best describes the American University of Madaba. The American University of Madaba is unique in its culture. This makes it stand out among others. Regarding AUM's strong educational system, the American University of Madaba also focuses on promoting many important concepts to live by to create a better future for everyone. What makes AUM stand out, as mentioned above, is its culture. AUM is the place where everyone from students, doctors, and staff can express themselves freely without the fear of being judged, and I have seen that. AUM hosts an event that happens once every year. This event is about students from the same nationality who groups up and open a booth to represent their country. They can wear traditional clothes, they can get their own traditional food, and they can perform a show. They can dance or sing or anything that expresses their culture. This gives the opportunity for students and the staff to learn about new cultures, taste new food, and to build a strong relationship with others. AUM hosts students, doctors, and staff from different nationalities. Moreover, it has different majors from other universities, and this gives the university a sense of differentiation among others. We are not mainstream, and we are having a diverse faculties. This promotes the idea of expressing yourself. Many students choose AUM because of its majors, as they have the choice to choose what is the best for them, and this widens their horizons and give them the opportunity to shine. In addition, the relationship between doctors and its students is not like any. It's built on support, encouragement, and respect, and doctors always push its students to get the best out of them and to think out of the box. To conclude, AUM is built on diversity. Its campuses are eco-friendly, and peace is our language. Everyone at this university respects each one another, not because they have to, but because this is AUM. And I am proud to be part of this family. Thank you so much, Mr. Massimo, and everyone for giving me this opportunity to be part of this huge event. This is my first time to be at this event. Thank you. I yield the floor back to Mr. Massimo. Thank you.
Yes. Before to continue it, please, Cinzia, I would like to thanks all these students coming from the different universities of the Balkans and the Middle East, and tell to our friend of United Nations and Italian mission in Geneva, this is a miracle of academic cooperation, and thanks to your support, United Nations and Italian diplomacy. And I would underline very important issues. It's the same when we have a birthday celebration in the family, like this. And sometimes there are the impossibility to have all the group together. And just this is a message for you that the others that are not in connection university, they are present and will continue to be present in the program. It's like a birthday family meeting. Someone is present as something in that day, but this not mean that are not present in the future program. I hope to be very clear in this my message. And I would like to address to these other countries, European and Middle East countries, my greetings, and jointly to in Rome program when we will meet in the next 2022. Now you can continue, Cinzia, the panel and the question to the for the students.
I sincerely thank you all the students, and we hope to meet you soon at the Rome International Seminar in the future. Now, it's with great pleasure that I tell you about Aesi's training activities with our students. Aesi's goal is to create a bridge between university theory and the world of work that is sometimes so distant, allow students from various Italian universities to discuss various issues with professionals who live and work in various Italian and foreign institutions. Today is an example, is a great, magnificent, and miracle, I will say, our president of all the panelists together. Aesi's goal is to raise awareness among its students with the main goal of cultivating young critical minds in a complex world. Human dignity, peace, cooperation between institution and university are absolute imperatives and creating a better place for future generations. I conclude with the words of the Apostolic Nuncio of Washington, Eminence Christopher Pierre, who addressed the following to Aesi delegation during the international mission in New York and Washington, D.C. that made us reflect. I read his words. Watch out so that your eyes are not covered by the fog of the world lines. Do not let yourselves be corrupted by materialism or by the seductive illusions of under-the-table agreements. A new humanism is needed, and only young people will be able to improve and re-establish a new Europe, a new world. Now, I would like to ask Ambassador Cornado, that I thank you very, very much, what significance this Aesi Forum has with the United Nations. I say that you respond after.
We will answer at the end at 5 o'clock. All of three will answer at the end. Please continue with.
Okay. Now I pass the word to Silvia Siciliano, Aesi staff and Web Forum coordinator, for a presentation. Please, Silvia.
Yes, so first of all, thank you, Cinzia, and good afternoon to everybody. I would like to thank the UNOG, the Permanent Mission of Italy to the UN Geneva and Aesi, and in particular Professor Caneva for this great opportunity to be here. I had a chance to take part in the Rome International Seminar 2 years ago in San Martino. It has been a wonderful experience to meet students from Jordan, Syria, Lebanon, Palestine, and Israel, to see people of different nationalities, backgrounds, conflict areas, sitting together at the round table. It was really incredible to see how universities can be the bridge between areas divided by conflicts and insecurity, such as the Middle East and the Balkans. I think that the word bridge is extremely important because it links something that was once split. And universities have the tools to foster dialogue, cooperation, and reconciliations. The tools to make us, young generations and students, believe in something uncommon and often unpopular. This is what happened in San Martino during Rome International Seminar, where the diversity has become richness and the other has become a friend. I have also a question to Mr. Ambassador Cornado. I'd like to ask you, University Cooperation for Peace is one of the main strategies led by the Italian Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation in the foreign policy. Do you think that the United Nations can adopt any similar initiatives? And thank you for your attention, and thank you a lot.
Thank you, Silvia. Now I ask the Italian students to ask their question. I ask Marco Gregori, Master Degree in International Relations at the University of Siena, to ask his question, please.
Thanks, Cinzia, and good afternoon to all the speakers. I have a question for Mr. David Civazze, and regarding the condition of the Balkans, what can be the role of the United Nations in order to maintain peace and improve cooperation between the local population? Thank you for your attention.
Okay, thank you, Marco. Now I ask Maria Lucia Gallo, Master's Degree in International Relations at the University of Messina, to ask her question, please.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I would like to ask Ambassador Cornado a question. Definitely, the world we live in has totally changed, especially the last year with the beginning of coronavirus pandemic. Considering the main conflicts that have left their mark in the contemporary history, now we are talking about the fact that we are living a kind of Cold War. With the vaccines, the world divided into blocks for the choice of one vaccine rather than another. What do you think? It is clear that in situations like this, cooperation and solidarity are needed because only thanks to these values, a peaceful and a friendly solution can be found. Do you think that diplomacy can be the right way to promote the cooperation between the states, especially in this new period for the contemporary history? Thank you for your attention.
Okay, thank you, Maria. I ask Alessia Idini, students of Master Degree in International Relations at the University of La Sapienza in Rome, to ask a question, please.
Good evening, everyone, and thanks for this opportunity.
I have a question for Professor Caneva. Professor, we always think that wars end just with instruments of international law. I'm thinking about the seventh chapter of the United Nations or the conclusion of a treaty. But your experiences with the university's cooperation teach us that also the dialogue can play a great role. But what I would like to know is if in these experiences with students of countries in conflict, there were cases in which the dialogue was not enough. So in a sort of, I mean, maybe you failed and maybe the dialogue was not enough. So you had to change the strategy to make these people collaborate. Thank you.
Thank you, Alessia, for your question. Now I ask Michele Dorazio, student of Department of Political Science of Lewis University in Rome, to ask his question, please.
Thank you. Good afternoon to you all. I would like to ask Professor Caneva my question. Currently, the entire world is fighting against the COVID-19 pandemic, and every country hopes to return to normality. We are now at a pivotal moment that could influence countries to enter into competition with each other, for example, trying to obtain more vaccine doses for themselves. Nevertheless, could scientific diplomacy turn this pandemic into an occasion to reinforce international partnerships, promoting cooperation instead of competition? Thank you.
Thank you. I ask Bauleo Francesca, graduate of International Science and European Institution at the University of Milano, to ask a question, please.
Good evening, everybody, and thank you for giving me the honor to have the floor here today. I would like to pose a question to Mr. Chidvaise, and it is this one. As it was stated here today, university cooperation for peace is definitely a structural tool to help and promote reconciliation by improving the intercultural dialogue. What I wanted to ask is, what are, in your experience, the best practical instruments to put into action first that maybe are often overlooked because the majority of experts won't notice their importance? And also, when was the first time that, on a practical level, the benefits from such actions started to show their effects on the turmoil of war? Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Francesca. And last question is of Tiziana De Carlo, student of Political Science and International Relations, University of Siena. Please ask your question.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. Many thanks for this opportunity. I would like to ask Professor Massimo Caneva a question. Professor, can you tell us how was your passion for international cooperation born, and why, as a physician, did you decide to make such a significant turning point in your life, dedicating yourself to the education of young people? Thank you.
Okay, this is the last question. The word of the hour for the responding.
Baulero is not yet present.
Bauleo Francesca?
Sì.
Yes, yes. He speak. Please speak. We don't listen. The microphone is off.
Okay, Ambassador, the floor is yours first. Second, David Chidvaise, last me. Okay.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, and thank you for your very, very good questions. I would like to answer the questions by Cinzia Avanzo, Director of Aesi, who asked me what significance this Aesi forum has with the United Nations. Well, it has a very strong significance because the United Nations is the better place to have a forum for international students. The United Nations is the place where the world's representatives meet, talk together, negotiate in a very friendly and constructive atmosphere. It's it's extremely important, is the same, I would say, atmosphere that exists among students. When you meet students from other countries, despite the difference which might exist politically, historically, culturally, there are always a wish, a will, a need to cooperate, to talk, to have exchanges. It is the same at the UN. We have all constructive relations, despite the different position which might exist among countries, and even when there are tensions among countries or member states, diplomats always cooperate together and talk together, because the most important thing is dialogue, confrontation, explanation of positions. When we cannot share a position, we have at least to understand why our counterpart has a different position. So this is why it's so important to have a forum like this within the United Nations, and I look forward to receiving you personally in the future, and in order to allow you to see with your eyes how the United Nations work, how delegates meet and discuss together in a very constructive, and friendly way. The second question was by Silvia Siciliano from Aesi staff, a web forum coordinator. She's asked me whether I believe that this kind of initiatives could be adopted also by the UN. But the UN is adopting indeed this initiative, because this forum is co-hosted by Unog and the Italian mission, as well as by Aesi. So the UN is already on board. And as you know, the UN organizes very frequently the so-called UN models, where students gathers and meet in the United Nations General Assembly in New York, or here at the Palais des Nations Assembly, to meet and to talk and to discuss on behalf of other countries, or the countries of origin. So we already have this kind of models, and I have to congratulate the United Nations for having done so in the years since a very long time. So it's definitely a good example of cooperation and initiatives to be repeated also within the United Nations system. And now I pass the floor to Mr. David Schieweitzer for the third question.
Thank you very much, John Lorenzo. Thank you, Massimo, Professor Caneva. I just want to say that you know, even miracles need miracle workers in order to happen, and Massimo Maria Caneva is a miracle worker. He
thanks very much, David. Thank you very much.
You managed to pull off things that other people dream about, and one of the most practical things that you managed to do is to bring people together. And here we have today an excellent example of very key constituencies coming together: diplomats, military, international organization, and the most important element, students and professors and faculty. Why? Because this is where the future is. This is the nexus where the positive roots that we hope take, this is where they germinate. I am very pleased also that I managed to pull off a small miracle myself when last year in February, middle of February, I managed to visit Rome and to meet with you there, and with Ambassador Benedetti and other colleagues of the Italian Ministry of Foreign Affairs. In hindsight, I felt like Sylvester Stallone running away from an explosion that was coming towards him from the back, because it was coronavirus exploding in Europe, and I managed to be in Rome at the time without any damage to my health. The questions that were put to all of us are very important questions, and they have a variety of focus. With regard to the Balkans, you know, the Balkans are very close to me in a number of ways, especially in two ways. I come from a region of the world which is pretty much as complicated as the Balkans, and it's the Caucasus. I come from Georgia. And so we have many, many similarities in character and both Mediterranean cultures and emotions and so on. So that's one reason. The other reason is because I spent 10 days driving 3,300 kilometers around Yugoslavia, including Kosovo, in May 1999, at the height of the bombings. I was assisting Sergio Vieira de Mello, the late Sergio Vieira de Mello, in determining the humanitarian needs. So, however, despite this, the Balkans are also as special as any other region. However, with regard to the question, the United Nations has the same set of tools. And in order to make those tools effective, part of the United Nations, what this term encompasses, needs to allow the other part of this term to act. And what I'm referring to is that the colleagues of Ambassador Coronado, the member states, need to make decisions, especially in the Security Council. We talk about peace and security issues. Unfortunately, despite the diplomatic niceties to which Ambassador Coronado was referring, which absolutely exist, and they make it possible for diplomats to talk, the positions of member states are very often, despite the efforts of the diplomats in place, are so hard and so far apart that decisions are not reached. And when decisions are not reached, the other part of the UN, which is the UN Secretariat, people like me who work in different departments, they cannot go to work. They cannot send humanitarian relief to areas. They cannot send peacekeepers in order to provide what the General was talking about, to be there and save lives. And we have examples of when peacekeepers were in place, but with an unclear mandate and not enough support, and it was a disaster. And some of these examples are relevant to the Balkans also. So member states need to work together. Unfortunately, one of the horsemen that the Director General was mentioning, quoting the Secretary General, is the abysmally bad relationships between the strongest powers on Earth, and that colors many other aspects. With regard to, I could go on and on about this. I don't want to do that and take time. With regard to the essence of the other question, I would say that what we are doing today, what you, the students and the faculty are doing, and what Professor Caneva is doing in bringing everybody together, I think that is the best thing that can be done, because civil society writ large, of which universities and academic institutions are a big part, civil society is the one that needs no instructions from capitals. It needs no diplomats to do the diplomatic footwork. They just get together, they talk, and they get to know each other, and they realize, as was said before by other speakers, that these are just people who have the same concerns, the same issues with families and their daily bread and the safety of their children and their schooling. So that, I think, would be. However, what I would also like to say is the converse, that what do we need to pay special attention to with regard to situations as the first indicators that are often overlooked of a situation going bad. And this is extremely important. And I would only say, there are many, but I would only say two things. One is when human rights start to be trampled on, And if that is not nipped in the bud and it's not a light is not shone on that, that deteriorates into a situation that could spiral out of control. And closely connected to that is propaganda, is hate propaganda, which starts with a distortion of your opponent's position. And that opponent very soon turns into your enemy. And that's where the crux of the communal problems arise from. So I would stop there. These are two very important issues on the negative side. On the positive side, I think the work that is being done by all of those present today, by everybody, I think that is the best thing to pursue. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I would like to answer to Alessia Haidi, the first question. Just to be very clear and very simple, the dialogue must continue, also if you have troubles, because in this type of job, as Pope Francis said, we need to be artists of peace, because building peace is an art that requires serenity, creativity, sensitivity, and dexterity. Dexterity means you need, I have played basketball and I've been a medical doctor of basketball national teams. Yeah, when you play, you must understand that you must change situation, creativity, and the most important is to believe that the other people are quite important. The center of the program is the person, the human being, his human dignity. And in the same time, you cannot ask every time the same in the period to be present or to be not present, to participate on that meeting, on another meeting, because sometimes they risk the life. Sometimes they are polite. So this means that this quality of also serenity, creativity, sensitivity, and dexterity are quite important. Regarding Michele Dorazio, my PhD visiting some universities in the world. In a big university, I participated like a fellow PhD in a lecture where the professor speak about the good product is effect of strong competition. And all the student was a little disoriented, you know. I was very young, I was a little to put my hand and say, please, I would like to say something. But I had the courage to say, and I told to the professor, please try to find a good product, taking in consideration cooperation, solidarity. And all the students was smile and are very happy. This means that in the strategy of the university, you cannot teach competition only as a strategy to be a good product. Because after that, your student becomes agent of this ideology. This is very dangerous. We need to create person that take care of the other person, not agent of an ideology to take only advantage for personal advantage. This is quite important. And this means that also in the pandemic situation, we need to work in this way. In the last, Tiziana De Carlo said to me, why you decide to make such a significant turning point in your life? I was in Armenia, Caucasus, medical doctor responsible of the medical and nurse team in the earthquake just during the collapse of Soviet Union. I arrived in Moscow because all the flight through Moscow go in the border. I was completely astonished at the situation. The people suffered at the earthquake. Many people died. And in that days, the geopolitics of the war changed strongly. And I decided to change my life from health to the intervention through the university to change the situation of conflict and interethnic and religious, something like this. Professionally and scientifically speaking. And this is why I decided as a medical doctor with PhD in social medicine in humanitarian affairs. I visited Oxford, refugee study program, Harvard, New York, Washington, many other universities. I decided my life to this, to put the university inside the international scenario, supporting United Nations, supporting European Union, supporting the peace military forces to achieve their goals for peace and solidarity. This is why, as a medical doctor, decide to change. And I would like to, in this line, to thanks very much, first of all, our Ambassador Cornado for the support, to believe to Aesi, to our program, and to help us to join with a marvelous program and connection with Director General and Mr. David Chikvaise, Chief of Cabinet of Director General, and all of you. Today is a family. As in a family, we are present all, but some others would like to be present, maybe present in the next meetings. Do you understand what I like to say? Not every time all present, but the majority was present. This means that you need to be very, very creativity, very dexterity, because the situation can change. But in the center, there is human person with his dignity from the beginning of the life until the end of the life. As a medical doctor, I have the responsible, not only political responsible, but also health and spiritual, to attend all the people in the world with the university strategy, with the professor and students. I would like to thank very much the director of Aesi, Cinzia Vanzo, Silvia Siciliano, this coordinator platform online, all the staff of the Director General of United Nations, all the students, all the colleagues, all the ambassadors and general that give me this support to go on. Believe me, it's very hard, but I believe in God, and God will help us and me to go on and overcome the difficulties. Look what happened, Papa Francesco, Pope Francis in Iraq. Is marvelous, is incredible, is ambassador of peace, and I was so happy to see him with all these different religions, cultural people, because we need to stay with the people suffered. We need to stay with the people need of us, of our generosity, through our job. Our job is University Cooperation for Peace. Thank you very much. I don't know if Ambassador and the Chief of Cabinet like to say a few words to conclude.
Thank you, Mr. President. I want to answer the question of Maria Lucia Gallo. She asked me a very interesting question on the pandemic, on a possible Cold War for the vaccines. I think it's a very interesting question I'd like to answer. The issue is very simple. We don't have a Cold War. We have a war against the pandemic, and all the countries in the world are fighting together this war against the pandemic, exactly like they fought together World War II. So there's of course, there is solidarity, but there's also competition. But this competition is very constructive because through the vaccines, all the powers involved are saving lives. And this fight against the pandemic will be won only if we fight it all together, if the international community fights it all together. It's a war against the pandemic. It's not a Cold War. There will be a competition among member states, but it will be a constructive one, I'm pretty sure. So again, diplomats have a role to play. Diplomats can make the difference together with the academics, military, students, and we certainly are going to face a new era of the 21st century, the post-COVID era. There will be a society to rebuild. There will be many efforts to make, and other great chances of cooperation among member states, and we are ready to do that. So thank you so much. I just wanted to answer this question, and to conclude, I wanted to thank you, President Caneva, to thank the Unog DG for her participation to this forum. I look forward to receiving you in person next year, all together here in Geneva, at the Palais des Nations, at the Embassy of Italy, the permanent mission of Italy to the UN. Thank you.
This is our hope, Ambassador. And
thank you.
David, do you like to say a few words?
I would like to thank everybody who took part here. I'd like to thank Ambassador Cornado for his support. Whatever we do with in the UN and by the UN is only like listening to music in mono, unless a member state or more than one member state joins in and provides leadership. That's when you hear stereo. So I want to thank Ambassador Cornado for being so strongly in support of our joint work. I want to thank you, Massimo, again. You are truly doing God's work, and which is also the UN's work in this. And I want to express optimism that we will prevail over COVID and still have your visit to Geneva. If things go well, maybe even end of the year. If not, we hope next year. But thank you very much for the cooperation. Thank you for the great work, and thank you for putting all this together and for inviting us. And good luck.
Thank you, thank you. And don't forget that this network is at your disposal for synergy and strategy of United Nations in crisis area. So if you please transfer to the DG Director General this our proposal. We are ready to support future synergy and program with United Nations. Thank you very much. And thank you to the student and to all the participants and we will go on. Thank you very much. Bye.
You're welcome. Bye. Bye.
Bye, everyone. All the best.
Bye. Good luck.
Bye.
Bye.